This is how I transformed my aim from repeating the same mistakes to actually getting in-game results. Variety conditioning is a technique where scenarios with similarities but slight variations are played in sync. I created this technique because I realized games aren't as structured as scenarios tend to be. So what does variety conditioning actually look like in practice? Let me show you. On the left, we see 3 runs of 1wall6te, a speed-focused scenario that beginners may use. And on the right, we see variety conditioning, VC for short. Both options have identical time spent, yet one is hitting triple the angles while staying relevant to the scenario goal. Why is this useful? Most aim fields blend together. I've talked about this lots, so I'll keep it short. If you're clicking a peeking target in Valorant, it isn't purely dynamic. It's your speed, precision tracking, and dynamic all coming together. If we have precision but no speed, the target moves before we get a shot off and will most likely shoot at the target's old positioning. And if we have speed but no precision, we'll most likely overshoot and miss. To this example, we can see how things are backpacking onto the next step. So that means that most of us don't need 3 minutes of isolation focused, but 1 minute of speed, 1 minute of accuracy, and 1 minute of both. We're still hitting the same scenario, getting identical benefits, but more variety. Imagine you're struggling to get a score in 1wall6 targets, and you identified the issue is your micros. So you load up a traditional micro scenario which works speed and start playing, only to head back and not perform any better. Why does this happen? Well, it may not be your micros, but the accuracy of your micros, which gets more work done through wide wall scenarios. So you're needing accuracy, but attacking speed. With variety conditioning, it would essentially eliminate the guessing game. Do I need speed? Do I benefit from larger or smaller targets? Won't be an issue because you're working on all key parts required to make a flick through different sizes, speeds, or patterns. But let's be real. This won't work for everyone. Mainly beginners may have a better chance of improving when working on repetition. That's because their brains haven't fully understood the basics of one scenario, let alone throwing 60 different variations on them can be confusing. So if you're a beginner, I recommend saving this video and coming back to it later. How do I know if I need repetition or variety? The short answer, you won't until you test both. I can sit here and ramble why variety is better, only for you to perform better from repetition. So am I wrong? No, the shoe simply doesn't fit. Since aim training is highly individual, no one technique fits all. That's why it's important to try what suits you and keep in mind your timings. Who is this for? You should use this if you're a person who learns from variety in the past and not hyper isolation. Or people who may not even know what to hit and see others grinding a single scenario but don't really see the same benefit from spamming a single scenario. Real quick, my aim coaching will be back open, spots quickly fill up, so reach out to me and we'll see if you're a good fit since I don't just take anyone into my coaching anymore. If you're struggling with static speed, put a smaller scenario ahead of the larger ones to carry precision into that speed. If you're a beginner or struggling with speed, put the easiest scenario ahead of the harder ones to work on the basics. If you're, for example, struggling with reactivity, I suggest putting the faster scenario ahead of the slower one. And if you're struggling with smoothness or shakiness, the slower ahead of the faster scenario. Which games is this good for? The technique is great for any game since it attacks mouse control and your actual weakness, rather than making you guess. Most people are naturally weak in multiple areas and simply believe it to be a singular problem. Have you ever missed a shot and thought, damn, if I just didn't overflick? The overflicking may be the symptom, but not the core problem. From my experience coaching, the issue of overflicking frequently comes from an inability to handle speed, moving targets, tracking and clicking, and much more. It's therefore important we don't hyper-isolate on overflicking when our entire aim is flawed. We're eliminating the isolation focus of aim trainers and putting a more realistic in-game approach to it. This essentially solves the need for you to do thinking, which sounds funny, but in theory, if you don't know what your issue is, hitting every possible angle in the same amount of time will definitely nullify that issue. If you like a video on how to identify the issues you're having, please let me know. And if you're thinking, damn, I wish 4BK made a playlist for this, well, I did. Links in the description, subscribe, and if you're serious about improving, check out my coaching.